This is my Martin HD28 and today I'd like to take a closer look at it with you. The first thing to say about this guitar is the correct name is Martin HD28e Retro, E standing for electrics and retro referring to the retro appointments on it, referring back to the pre-war Martins, which were perceived as the best Martins that were ever made. So I guess my story with Martins began when I was a teenager, and I used to listen to Neil Young's Live Rust album, and on that cover he was playing a D45 or a D42. I'm not sure which one it was. I think it was a 45, and it had a beautiful side one was all acoustic songs: Sugar Mountain, Comes a Time, I Am a Child, Hey Hey My My, and beautiful jangly sound of that just struck me and always stayed with me. I absolutely loved it, and I associated that sound with how an acoustic guitar should sound. Rightly or wrongly, and looking back on it, I don't know whether Neil was using a pickup or whatever, because there was no microphone that I could see visibly. Even when I got the video of Live Rust, I could see no microphone on the acoustic guitar, so I assumed there was some kind of bug or microphone in it. I don't know. It was 1978 in the Cow Palace. It was recorded in San Francisco, so I don't know how that was recorded, but to me it had just a beautiful guitar sound. Maybe there was some post-production work done on it, I don't know, but to me that's how acoustic guitars should sound. But I wasn't lucky enough to be able to buy a Martin for my first guitar, and for my first guitar I bought this guitar, which is an Epiphone Fr200. And I know surprisingly very little about this guitar. It's actually in not too bad condition considering its age. So it's 40 years old actually, this guitar, which scares me a little bit. But when I picked this guitar up, I just was struck by the tone of it. And at the time, the shop I was in was full of Yamahas, and the tone of them just didn't appeal to me. This guitar appealed to me sound-wise. It wasn't a Martin, it wasn't as jangly as a Martin, but I've stuck with this guitar for years and years and years. And in fact, it was only in 2017, when I had a bit more money, that I decided that I could afford to get a Martin. I bought a lot of electric guitars and I wanted to upgrade my acoustic guitar. I wanted to buy a really good Martin. So I'd heard about the Martin Retro series, which came out at the end of 2017, I think. Had a look in music stores all over the UK, couldn't see any. I saw a lot of Martins on there, and I did want one that had the plug-in electric option, because just in case I was using it in a gig or on a gig, I wanted to be able to use the Martin. So the ones I saw tended to have the inserts in the side of the body, little control panels, EQs, tuners, whatever. And to my mind, they take away from the look of the guitar. For me, an acoustic guitar should look like an acoustic guitar and shouldn't have other things sort of sticking out and placed on the sides of it or whatever. Just my choice. So I was delighted when I saw that Martin were bringing out the Retro series with the internal Fishman pickup system and LR bag system as well they were offering. So I decided, I did a lot of reading up, and I decided I didn't want a D18, I wanted the 28. Couldn't afford a 42 or 45 because they were just silly money, several £1,000s. So I started looking and there were none. So I contacted Martin and they said, well, they should be in stock around July time, but it was actually September before I saw two of these in Project Music in England, and got in touch with the guys, and they sent me what they said was the best one over, sight unseen. Obviously they'd shared photographs with it, but I hadn't played it. I got it, opened it, played it, and was absolutely delighted by it. Just loved it from day one. And my brother-in-law has a Taylor, and it to my mind, the sound of it is just much better. Now his guitar isn't as costly as this one, so it's maybe not a fair comparison. Taylors are great acoustics. But I love it, and I don't feature it enough in videos, so I've got to do something about that. So what I do in true nerdy style, I've got some crib sheets here, so maybe I'll take you through just a few of the appointments on it as best I can, probably very poorly, and just talk you through the guitar. So the back and sides are East Indian rosewood. Obviously nowadays you'll not get, or it's very rare to get, I should say, Brazilian rosewood. So this is probably the closest you can get to that if you're not going into more exotic woods. It's got a herringbone, famous herringbone down the centre. And the binding on it is, let me refer to my crib sheet, grained ivory, it's described as, which is very nice. The top is interesting because these, if you bought a normal HD28 or 28 series guitar, it would be more white than this. This is what they call a yellow toner that is referring back to the golden era guitars. So it's an aged toner, and it's to give it that look. And there's a few things about this guitar which refer back to the classic pre-war Martins, and that's one of them. Tortoiseshell guard, which you can see there, and 1930s style drop-in saddle, ebony saddle, or ebony bridge I should say, with drop-in bone saddle, and just liquid mollified, I think they refer to them as bridge pins. I don't think they're anything particularly special, but ebony bridge anyway, and bone saddle. Inside we've got Fishman Aura F1 system, and the only kind of obvious thing that's electric is the battery compartment there, but again, like most really modern acoustics, that's about the extent you see on the outside. You have a couple of controls which I'm sure I won't be able to probably show in there as part of the enhanced system. Volume, tone, and then enhance third wheel down in the bottom. D28 style Rosetta there. And I think that is everything. The custom shop do these on, also do the top on using Adirondack. And I think, I'm going to get this wrong, is it the Sitka has a tighter grain than the Adirondack or vice versa? But that's how you can tell. I'll have to look that one up. Turning to the neck, it's just described by Martin as a select hardwood, so it's not mahogany or anything like that. I don't know whether they describe the D42, the D45 as select hardwood as well. Ebony board, 14th fret body joint. Nut saddle. Nut width refers to notes 1 3/4. Now there's a wee bit more real estate in here than you would see, for example, on a Dove, a Gibson Dove or Doves in Flights, or even a Hummingbird, which I like. I've played those guitars and they're very, very narrow. Less so the Hummingbird, but the Doves are very narrow at the nut. In terms of the neck, then it's got a dovetail joint with the head, and the head has the nickel open geared tuners with the butterbean knobs, and I just think that is absolutely, let's try to get a better shot of it, but I think it's really classy looking. Love that. The nut is bone, and the only other thing I want to talk about for a second is these, again, this is referring back to the 30s, is the Abalone inlays, if you can see those. I don't know if you notice, but if I can find the one, yeah, that one there, you only see half the diamond. Now these are described as diamonds and squares long pattern. When I got this guitar, I looked at it and I thought, well, half the inlay's missing. And the dealer spoke to the Martin rep, and the Martin rep said, no, that's the way they are. So I checked loads of photographs of these guitars, and right enough, the diamonds are not clear as you go up and down the neck. I don't know whether it's part of the treatment of the ebony neck, that it kind of covers the inlays, or whether it's a manufacturing issue. I doubt that very much, because an inlay is an inlay is an inlay when you're producing the neck. I don't know, but to me it's strange, but it is consistent with other Martins. I even looked at some pre-war Martins and they had the same, so it's just curious and left me curious. In terms of the neck is part of Martin's, I have to get this right, performing artist taper. And it's very comfortable to play, so it's not really a heavy sort of D shape. It's a modern neck. Now, using my radius gauge, I can tell you that it is around 10 inches, and that's at the 13th fret. So it's a fairly flat, it flattens out as you go up the neck, and it's probably about 7 1/4 or so down at the nut. But as I say, lovely, easy to play, and easy to pick with. And the thing I do like about it is the sustain. It's still going. So for me, it just rings as a Martin should. Now I use Martin phosphor bronze strings on it. I've also used the Dario Elixir strings. They're all good. They're all very, very good strings. But I just have always used Martin phosphor bronze strings. It gives me the sound I want. It gives me the projection I want. You know, double O's are fantastic. Single O's beautiful, but For me, I wanted the dreadnought shape, developed as it was in orchestras, to really cut through all the other instruments and bring the guitar up in the mix. It's a lovely guitar to play, to strum, to finger pick, and I just absolutely love it. I didn't mention the silk screen Martin head. I would have obviously have loved to have got the inlaid CMF Martin down the headstock that you get on the 42 and 45 models. I'm not sure if you get in the 30 models, but it's the guitar for me, and lovely sort of retro tortoise guard on it. So I think I've covered the main points of the guitar. Hopefully the little piece of the insert of me playing it at the start of the video give you a taste of what it sounds like. As I say, I absolutely love it. It was worth the money, and it's a worthy successor to my original Epiphone, which is sitting here beside me. So I don't know what whether you agree with me or whether you prefer Gills, Taylors, Gibsons. In my mind, they're all great acoustic guitars, and they all have their own sounds and personalities, and that's what it's about at the end of the day. You know, when I was a teenager listening to Neil Young, I wanted that jangly sound on those songs like Comes a Time or Sugar Mountain. Just I'll never forget it. It's always stayed with me. That's the sound that I wanted, and the embodiment of that sound was a Martin guitar. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this sort of insight into my number one acoustic. Not that I have a whole raft of acoustics, but and I hope you found it interesting and maybe picked up one or two things out of it. If you did, absolutely fantastic. That's great. Don't be afraid to add a comment. Maybe you, as I say, you prefer a Gibson or a Taylor or a Guild, and that's absolutely brilliant. But as I say, feel free to put a comment in the comments box, and thanks for watching. I must try and feature this again a little bit more in some of my future videos, because I've been doing a lot of electric stuff recently, so I've got to get the acoustic back in there. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.